At the outset, I extend a very hearty welcome to each one of you. You are most welcome. We already have Swami Sunirmalanandaji, the in charge of Ramakrishna Vedanta Center of Netherlands at Amsterdam, who will be speaking on right understanding and right vision, essentials of survival. This is a very interesting and instructive topic indeed. And next week, we'll have a lecture by Swami Atmeshananda of Ramakrishna Vedanta Center of Brisbane, Australia. That is on 1st of August. And the topic will be concept of spiritual teacher. Uh, I take this opportunity to extend our good wishes and warm greetings on the auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima yesterday. And we have our representative Guru, Swami Sunirmalanandaji, who is with us. We express our reverence and respect to him and seek his blessings. Swami Sunirmalanandaji is a senior monk of the Ramakrishna order. He served his Guru Swami Bhuteshanandaji Maharaj for some years in Belur. He was Acharya, teacher and guide to the Brahmacharis at the training center for Brahmacharis for some time. Swami Sunirmalanandaji is now in charge of the Holland Vedanta Society. Now this is the 10th lecture in the series. We started this lecture series to give people sustenance and um, sort of comfort, to develop mental peace, to be happy, and to develop a spiritual perspective, and also face the stress and strain of this pandemic. There has been massive loss, but that is how spiritual perspective helps. This is the 10th lecture in this series. With these words, Udarandaji, will you speak a few words through your phone? I think there is some problem with his computer. So, but his whole heart is on the lecture, and he is immensely grateful to Swami Sunirmalanandaji. All of us are, to give us time, and Pranam Maharaji, and give us your blessings. And we pass on to you, Maharaji, for starting your lecture, Maharaji. Thank you, Maharaji.
I'm honored that you invited me to speak a few words. That's my first statement. And thanks each one of you for being with us. You have your busy schedule, even if it's a Sunday, you are all here. Thank you very much. So we shall begin with a prayer. Om Jananim Sharadam Devi Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhu. I have given this topic today, right understanding and right vision. This topic is not something sort of a advice or sort of a blessing or whatever. It's about certain facts which we should know in the present circumstances. That's the reason I have chosen this topic. We shall begin with this Vedic mantra. In the Veda, there is a wonderful mantra. Tama asit tamasa gudham agre. In the past or in the beginning, Tama asit, darkness was hidden in darkness. Tama asit tamasa gudham agre. In the beginning, darkness was hidden in darkness. What does that mean? Most of us are in darkness, but we don't know that we are in darkness. We think we are enlightened people. We move about everywhere thinking that we are enlightened. Especially nowadays, the situation is completely out of control, so to say. We are in a global village, one. Number two, we are completely into the social media, most of us. There are so many variations and varieties of the social media, and they keep on feeding us knowledge. We are flooded with information, most of it wrong, and we keep on sharing them. If there is a short message, we keep on sharing them without understanding the meaning of that. Thus, is it difficult for you to hear me? Is it okay? Are you able to listen to me?
It it is
Mani
it is
Maureen?
absolutely
Absolutely
fine,
fine.
Balaji.
Okay, okay.
So then,
Absolutely normal.
most of us, especially the youth, have no way of knowing things correctly. Flooding of information of short. In that year, he writes, mobile phone is in the Rig Veda, and that's circulated millions of times. And by the time somebody says, no, it's not correct, it's all gone. Somebody posts a photograph of a mother with a little child, a baby, and says Swami Vivekananda in his childhood. This photo is fake. You keep on writing again and again, and people keep on circulating over and over again. This is the flooding. At the same time, there are numerous courses and classes and online teachings of Upanishads, Vedas, etc. And people say they listen to them. There are certain fundamental ideas which we must be very clear if we are really students of the Upanishads and the Vedas, especially the youth. Number one, what does the Upanishad teach? Swami Vivekananda was never tired of repeating again and again that the fundamental teaching of Upanishad is Aghi, fearlessness and strength. Fearlessness and strength. This has been Swami Vivekananda's teaching most of the time. He says, study the Upanishad, you gain strength. But that part is forgotten. We study the Upanishads, think about something, some esoteric things which you don't understand, Atman, etc. Yes, we have to listen to them, but still, the fundamental ideas are gone. Then we say we are the students of the Bhagavad Gita. It's not easy to study the Bhagavad Gita. By Mother's grace, I have studied Bhagavad Gita with students till today at least 14 or 15 times, even Shankara Bhashya, etc. 15 times. Even then, every time, everything is new. What is the fundamental teaching of the Bhagavad Gita? The first teaching, the foremost teaching, it says, open the door. What is it that the fundamental teaching is? Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tektva uttishta parantapa. Give up this weakness of the heart, O Parantapa, O sorcerer of this enemy. That is, you are so powerful. You have tremendous energy within, tremendous capability within, and you don't know that. You think you are weak. Swami Vivekananda insisted that this is the most fundamental teaching of the Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita. In fact, of the Hindu or the Vedantic Shastras. We forget that. What's the consequence? As you all know, India is in a terrible state, and anybody can take away anybody can run away with anybody. The land is taken, everything is taken, and people are so helpless. About 75 to 80% of the people of India are helpless. And what do? They philosophize their weakness and say, Sri Ramakrishna taught us that all religions are the same. So therefore, we shall not do anything even if our house is robbed. Is there any teaching like that? Either by Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, or the Upanishad, or the Veda? Never do you hear such things. Only we have created such things, created such teachings to hide our weakness and fear. That was not what the Vedas taught. That was not what the Upanishads taught. Swamiji always said strength is important. Strength is the main thing. Courage, strength. Sanatana Dharma or Vedantika Dharma, Vedanta Dharma as it is called, is a dharma of the Kshatriya. The power, valor, the strength of the Kshatriya. That was Vedanta. That was Sanatana Dharma. People used to go to kings and emperors to know about the Atman. Who had the Atman knowledge? Kings and emperors. You go to the King Janaka. King is sitting there on the throne, extremely busy. He will teach you Vedanta. He will teach you the knowledge of Brahman. That was the idea. Kshatriya put, the power. That is all forgotten. Especially when it comes to India, thousands of years of history, thousands of years of study, thousands of years of struggle, all forgotten to compromise things and to be beaten constantly for no reason. It should not be. Therefore, I chose this idea of right understanding and right vision. As we all know, Bhagavan Buddha gave the eightfold path. Amongst the eightfold path, the first three are moral teachings, and the next few are the spiritual teachings. In them, the first one is Samma Ditti in Pali, Samyak Drishti in Sanskrit, right vision in English. What is right vision? To see things correctly, to know things correctly as they are. Most of the time we color things. We don't know. As I said in the beginning, somebody will post something on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever. There is mobile phone in the Rig Veda and everybody blindly goes on circulating it. Take a few moments to search, find out, understand. No, we don't do that. This is our problem. So therefore, Samyak Drishti. Samyak Drishti means to know things correctly, the right perspective, to see things correctly. For this, a little power is needed. That power comes from inner strength. Yes? Okay. And the second thing is right understanding. Right understanding is Samyak Vyayama, you can say according to the Buddha, or Samyak Drishti also. You can say Drishti is the same thing as this thing, vision, the Dhi that has to be awakened. Right understanding and right perspective of things. This is also very important. Ask anybody. I hear something.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, so Udaran, this microphone here.
Maharaj, you have to mute your microphone, Maharaj.
I understand it is not working.
Huh?
I understand this every day.
Oh, sorry. Unfortunate. So what I was speaking is about this right understanding and right vision. If we are the students of Vedanta or Sanatana Dharma or any Dharma for that matter, if we are to be spiritual seekers, we must have the right vision, proper vision, and proper understanding of things in the right perspective. Otherwise, we make serious mistakes. We generalize things, take what is easy and give up other things. For instance, from the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Ask anybody what Sri Ramakrishna taught you. Sri Ramakrishna taught us that all religions are the same, they say. Sri Ramakrishna did not say that. He said, Joto mot, toto pot. As many ways, so many paths, he said. So follow whichever path you want and reach the ideal. That is the idea of Sri Ramakrishna. But we forget that. As a consequence of our wrong understanding of Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, there is eternal conflict. You ask anybody, why don't you defend yourself? Why don't you defend your dharma? They say, no, Sri Ramakrishna has taught us that even if we are beaten, let them beat us. That's okay. Even if we are robbed, it's okay. Even if our land is gone, it's okay. That should not be. Therefore, right understanding and right vision are very important. You must have the right vision in the sense. Samyak drishti means to see things in proper light. Any teaching, anything, see things in proper light. Way to understand things. You may be flooded with information on the Facebook or whichever, which is the modern trend of understanding and learning things, because people don't study. As you know, people don't read books anymore. Books have become almost obsolete. From where do we gain information? Movies. Movies explain to us about different spiritual ideas and concepts in their own colored way, and we believe them. I asked somebody, have you read the Ramayana? He said, no, who reads the Ramayana? No, we have the Ramayana online. We see the Ramayana, we watch Ramayana. At least the Ramayana was done in a good way. So our idea of knowledge now is only through such sources. When it is so, we must be very cautious and open our eyes, understand things clearly, and see things in the proper light. Otherwise, we shall carry wrong ideas and also give to our future generations wrong ideas and wrong notions about our own destiny. There is tremendous glory in Sanatana Dharma, in the ancient sages who taught us numerous things. Swami Vivekananda said that if we study our ancient history, our works in the proper light, it will be revealed that even as it was in spirituality, in fine art, that is in all sciences, India was the teacher of the world in ancient times. This is what Swami Vivekananda said. As you may remember, he told Nivedita once that what we call Greek carpentry, etc., was all from India. Nobody had the proof. Then Deval came, the British gentleman came, studied, wrote books, and we understood that yes, it was right. Even pieces of wood were found. So in every way, India was the guru in ancient times. In our books, which is generally not understood, not read in the original, nobody reads in the original, very few, there are numerous ideas which are enough to fill our science textbooks, to fill our lives, to enlighten us, to enrich us. There are numerous things, but we have no time to study. Swami Vivekananda therefore wanted that the younger generation, the educated younger generation, must study the ancient literature thoroughly based on science and tell the world what it was in the past. History is cyclic. It is not a linear progression. It is not that we were tribes sometime in the past and became enlightened today. Not like that. It is cyclic. It comes up and goes down, comes up and goes down. Thus, there were periods in history when civilizations were in the highest state of evolution. We may not have the aeroplane then, we may not have had the computer or the mobile telephone then, but there were things which were equal, which helped humanity in diverse ways, and that has been mentioned in our scriptures in cryptic form. That is what we have to study instead of going for certain social media knowledge. So, what I said till now as an introduction is this. Number one, we have been trained to think that what the social media feeds us nowadays is all that is knowledge. Most of it is wrong knowledge, incomplete knowledge, etc. Even for that matter, as you might have heard recently, the master of Wikipedia himself declared that no, please don't believe in Wikipedia anymore. They all rush to Wikipedia to understand things. Even he said that. He himself declared that. So things are so difficult. Fortunately for us, The same internet and the same this thing which has been feeding wrong things is also feeding books. You have all the ancient Sanskrit texts and others well maintained and preserved. All you have to do is to download, study them properly, understand them in the right spirit. Take up any book for that matter. If you want to study the Bhagavad Gita, most of us are confused. I want to study about, say, Vedanta, Hindu Dharma, or whatever. How should I begin? There are numerous books. There is endless literature. Start with the Bhagavad Gita, for instance. Sri Ramakrishna said that this is the essence of all knowledge, all the Vedas. Start with the Bhagavad Gita. Everything will be well organized, well systematic. You will understand about what war is, about what psychology is, because Arjuna was confused. You will understand about what an incarnation is. You will understand about the body, the mind, and the soul. Everything is systematically explained, and you will understand what to do, when to do, how to do, what is work, what is meditation. So by the time you complete studying the Bhagavad Gita, you are a master of things properly understood and properly placed. It's not a confusing thing. You have studied 100 books today. How many books did you read today? So many books. How much of knowledge did you gather today? So much of knowledge. But everything is come in a state of confusion, no understanding. That should not be. Knowledge will bring us what? Strength. That is why Swami Vivekananda insisted again and again that Upanishads are a mine of strength. Upanishads are a mine of strength. He said again and again. Every sentence and every word of Vivekananda are very important for us. He said, by studying the Upanishad, you gain strength, inner strength. That strength comes from the confidence that you are divine. This again is the fundamental concept of Sanatana Dharma or Vedanta. You are divine. We have been brainwashed, especially in some religions. We have been brainwashed constantly since childhood that we are sinners, we are useless, we are sinners, we are born sinners, etc. And then we go to hell. That weighs heavily, as a heavy weight upon our personality. We have been told, preached that we are sinners. How to remove that weight? What happens if that weight is there on us? It will not allow the divine grace or the grace of God to flow. We ourselves have blocked ourselves. Having known this, numerous people, without any knowledge, give up this holy Vedanta, which teaches them freedom, which gives us strength, etc., and jump into such things. Because they say, Ramakrishna said that all religions are the same. He did not say that. Therefore, correct understanding, correct vision are very important for our lives. What does right vision plus? What we want absolutely in our life now. We may hear 100 things about God realization, about Brahman, etc. What do we want in this life now? When there was just now during the introduction, Mr. Ganguly told us about this virus situation, etc. We had this virus situation and it is still there, vibrant, and many countries are still having its problems, etc. At such a time, there have been numerous talks, numerous discussions about what we should do at this time. True, but if we don't have that inner strength, if we are locked up in our houses, if we don't know what to do, and all the movies have been exhausted, we have seen the same movies over and over again, violence, criminality, etc. What will you do? You don't have any interest in higher studies, nothing. So this is the problem. We must understand how that inner strength helps us overcome difficult situations. We will always anticipate situations. We know situations will come. The president of a nation, a bigger country, will sleep after having solved some problems and knows that when he wakes up, he will have a list of problems to be solved. This he anticipates always. Similar is our life. This life on this earth is a mixture of good and bad. Here, if we have to be successful, we must be strong. So, what do we want? Why do we go and study this and that? The first thing we want is knowledge. We all say that we want knowledge. It's not for joy we are studying them. We are studying everything. You are listening, taking all your time here. Is because you want knowledge. What does knowledge bring you? Strength, conviction. That is the main thing that knowledge brings. Strength, inner strength. And that inner strength comes through what? Not through the knowledge that your body is eternal, that you can make this body strong and it will live forever, etc. Not that. The Atman, there is the inner self, that is divine, that is pure. Whatever may be the mistakes we have committed in this life, they are all just, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, mountain of cotton. Sri Ramakrishna gave this courage, wonderful courage and power to humanity. He said it's a mountain of cotton. Just strike a match and it's all gone in a moment. Don't give importance to things which should not be given importance to. That is Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. We think Sri Ramakrishna taught this and that, we highlight certain things which are not important. Sri Ramakrishna, for instance, taught us Tyaga. Tyaga means renunciation. We think that, we cannot renounce everything, therefore we will not touch that instruction. We will go for other simpler things. No. What Sri Ramakrishna taught us was all good for us. That we must understand. We must thoroughly study. Then we will understand very clearly what are the basic teachings, what are not. This is where right understanding comes. What is this right understanding about the teachings of Ramakrishna? We must correctly divide Ramakrishna's teachings into dharmic teachings and spiritual teachings. Dharma teachings means those teachings which help us live well in this world. There are countless instructions, examples from his life itself, examples from the life of the mother, to teach us how we should react to life's circumstances. That is one important thing. Secondly, spiritual teachings. The ultimate goal is spiritual, of course. But still, Sanatana Dharma teaches us that yato abhyudaya nishreyas tadharma. Abhyudaya means well-being and progress in this world, on this earth. Nobody asks us to be poor, to surrender everything to other communities, give it to everybody, let them take away your daughters. You just think that all religions are the same. Such things are not there. We have to fight. So, yato abhyudaya, here on this earth, we must struggle to become rich, to become powerful, to become strong in every way. And then nishreyas also. After passing, after this body drops, you must attain the highest. This is what Dharma teaches. So what is Dharma? Dharma teaches us Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa. Why does the avatar come? To establish Dharma. Vivekananda has said again and again, to establish Dharma. Krishna has said, when Dharma declines, he doesn't mean that he comes to establish Hindu Dharma or Christian religion or whatever. No, they are already established. So what is it they established? Give us that inner strength to follow things in the right perspective, knowing things in the right perspective. That is most important. Wrong understanding, wrong ideas, taking up one or two wrong teachings and saying and insisting this is what Ramakrishna taught. No. This is what our scriptures teach. No, that is not the thing. The first fundamental thing, I shall repeat again, that we must understand as students of Vedanta is we must be strong. No question of weakness of any kind, thinking that we are weak, we are sinful, no. From this moment, we must think that we are strong, eternally strong. There is still time left, is it? I am continuing.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
Yes, Maharaj.
So,
Please go on.
okay. So we must first of all think and understand that we are strong, we are powerful, we are almighty. There is the tremendous strength. Number two, books, etc., are all helps. All strength is within us. All knowledge is within us. It's all inside out. Knowledge comes from within. It's an unfoldment. This life is an opportunity to unfold knowledge. We had a small discussion yesterday where we were discussing the same idea, and I told them that all of us can be Bill Gates. All of us are potential Bill Gates. As Swami Vivekananda used to say, the amoeba is involved Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is evolved amoeba. That means fully developed and manifested. Suppose you go on putting certain stones on this amoeba and tell the amoeba that you are powerless, you are a sinner, you are weak, etc. It wants to struggle to come out, it cannot come out. So if you are tied hand and foot, if your boat is tight and anchored, you struggle as much as you can, but you cannot go forward at all. There is no point in struggling. You cannot go out. So you have been told. Further, some religions tell you that there is this eternal hell, and the day of judgment comes, and the Lord stands there and tells you, you are a sinner, you will go to hell and you will be damned, condemned eternally. For what? Maybe you have stolen a piece of bread somewhere, sometime long, long ago. Such things have been told to us as religion. That is why we must have right understanding and right vision. We must think correctly. Every religion has certain superficial teachings. We must go deeply. That is where Ramakrishna comes. Sri Ramakrishna teaches us that we are the divine. We have to manifest the divine. That is why he said repeatedly that God realization is the only goal of life. There is that power, there is that strength within us. That must be manifested. And Swamiji added that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches us, Kshudram Hrudaya Daurbalyam Tektva Uttishta Parantapa. That is the first teaching. If you want to study the Gita, be strong, be powerful. What power? Each one is ready to fight 100 people. That is the strength we must have. We are no ordinary miserable creatures in this body full of weakness, etc. No. All the diseases come, all the problems come, as we all know, because of weakness. 99% is psychosomatic. Even the virus attacks us if we are weak. We have been told repeatedly over and over again. So therefore strength. Strength and courage and willpower. That is what is strengthened. That must be there if you study the Upanishad and Vedas, etc. Secondly, understanding them clearly. It's not the amount of study that is important, it's only the quality that is important. You study only a tiny Upanishad, that's enough. One simple Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, teaches you Kurvanne deha karmani jiji vishet shatam sama evam tvayi na anyatha asti na karma lityate nare. Kurvanneva iha karmani, in this world, work constantly means keep the body fit. Jiji vishet, jivitum ichet. Desire to survive on this earth, 100-fold asked you to run away, to think you are weak, to think you are useless, etc. All these wrong concepts have been filled, are being filled through social media on us. We must forget all of them. Kurvanneva iha karmani jiji vishet shatam samaha. Our ideal is to live a full 100 years, if not 1,000 years, strong and powerful. I will digress a little and tell you, if after this talk, if you are interested, just for fun, you can Google, you can go to YouTube and check for a woman who is maybe now 72 or 70 or 73 years and check her. Should I do exercise every day? And I'm strong, a powerful lady. So such things are possible. We all can be strong and powerful. This is the first teaching of Vedanta. Strength. Physical strength, mental strength, etc. If there is mental strength, no worries, no problems. Even if problems come, we know how to face them. Thirdly, as I said, Ramakrishna's teachings are both for spirituality and for dharma to live here. Sri Ramakrishna has taught through his life example about how to live on this earth. Several things. I will tell you a small incident, a tiny incident in Ramakrishna's life. You all remember one day, Mother Sharada was sweeping the floor. She did not observe Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna entering. He came and just slightly, as if pushed her, just touching her and said, "Do you think I am drunk?" Mother said, "Why should you drink? You are inebriated with the name of Lord, name of the Divine Mother." This incident is a very ordinary incident, and we say most of the time these things have no meaning and significance. They are all normal incidents. No. Every little thing in the life of Bhagavan, Ramakrishna, or the avatar is for the world. Is an archetype for us to understand and think. What is the meaning of this incident? 90% of families on this earth now are breaking. Because in the past, the situation was different. Marriages were so-called made in heaven. Now it's all made on earth. What happens is misunderstanding. For every small thing, there is misunderstanding, there is quarrel, and then there is separation. For every small thing, there is separation. Why should that happen? Every son, whether for the small quarrel, they'll separate. I was in a country for some years, and there somebody was telling me, a young boy was telling me, "Today I'm very happy." What's the matter? "Today my mom and dad separated." "Why should you be happy for this?" He said, "In my class, all have separated except my mom and dad. They were still together." I thought, what is it? I was the only person, so now they have separated. So this has become a trend now. Easily misunderstand the other person. There is complete understanding of the other person. How does that come? If you have inner strength, if you are spiritual, if you have proper understanding of yourself, you can understand the other person also fully, correctly. Life is divine. That divine sense comes. If you see the life of Mother and Ramakrishna, you can see how there was no self-seeking at all. For 3 months, Mother could not see Ramakrishna. She would not bother. Her this thing was to serve him. Maybe for the modern times, the educated world, it's a very high ideal, no. But still, the ideal is put in such a manner that we can follow a few steps at least. So therefore, there is no self-seeking. When there is no self-seeking, there is no misunderstanding. So there is proper understanding, the right vision. Right vision is to see things in proper light. We always color things as we go forward in our life. Everything is colored. We see somebody as a bad man because of our ego. I'll give you a small example. Somebody's neighbor in India, as most of you know, in India having a car nowadays is a common thing, but say 30, 40 years ago, it was a big luxurious thing. A very rich man could have a car and a family bought a car. This lady became extremely worried. She started scolding her husband. "You are so useless. You did nothing. You did not save money. See, our neighbor has a car. See, they are so rich now. They are so happy. How can I show my face to my people? They are so wonderful, and you did nothing for the family." And she went on scolding. That man was so tired from his job, etc. And he thought, "My God, someone let the car break. Let the car break and make it an accident and let everything go, then my wife will be silent. Then she will understand the value of the car. Oh my God, do this much. Let the car break." Next morning, there was a knock at the door. The neighbors came. They said, "You might have seen that we have purchased a new car. Dear friends, you are our neighbors. You must inaugurate the car, sort of. You must sit in the car. Please come." We will go around the city and come back. Now the husband is praying fervently, no accidents, my Lord. No accident for the car. No. Prayer has changed overnight. So this is how things are. Therefore, we are strong mentally. Everything will come to us. Whatever we pray for, whatever we need will come to us. There is an eternal law, condition in this universe. We must understand that. There is still 10. Anyway, there is an eternal law in this universe. That is, what we deserve, we will get. What we don't deserve, we will not get. This is the eternal law. And this deserving thing has been made by us. We created this. How? Through our karmas, our past karmas. We have created ourselves as we are now. So if we have proper understanding of life, of dharma, of the truths of spirituality, everything is very simple. They are not so complex at all. True spirituality is very simple. Ramakrishna was absolutely simple. So if you can understand that, lead a good dharmic life on this earth with full strength and courage, go ahead. Everything will be okay for us. All the past karmas will be deleted and we can manifest our inner glory. As I said, Bill Gates is not one. Every one of us has the capacity to be Bill Gates. Every amoeba can be a Jesus Christ. It's only a manifestation problem. A huge plastic, a plastic which is maybe a country wide, can be compressed and made into a tiny ball. But that is a compressed plastic. If you open it, it becomes a huge plastic. Similarly, we are all compressed. We think we are useless, powerless, etc., and we cover that more and more. What Vedanta wants us is to open up. Like Yammasmagam of Partha. Na etatvai upapadyate kshudram hridaya durbalyam tekva. We must first of all think that we are all powerful, all capacity is in us, all power is in us. Not that only the neighbor can buy a car, you also can buy a car. Why? Because lottery ticket, many of us say that lottery ticket is a luck. There is nothing called luck. Everything is karma. Somebody wins a lottery ticket for 3 times or 4 times. It's all not luck or anything. It's all karma. Everything is based on an eternal law called Rita in this universe. That law of Rita is, if you eat something, chilies, red, green chilies, if you bite green chilies, it is the eternal law that your mouth will burn. Nobody can stop that from burning. It's the eternal law. Similarly, this eternal law is always there. Those who do harm to others will suffer. Those who do good to others will be raised. So therefore, Sanatana Dharma teaches us to pray, to worship, to meditate, to do good work, etc. All these have to be understood in the right perspective. We must take something simple and go ahead. If we go on to these social media ideas which confuse us and which says constantly thus, oh, what Hindus do is wrong, what you do is wrong, this is not correct, that is not correct, don't do this. Everybody is confused now. So that should not be. Everything has meaning, everything has value, centuries of tests have been made about this. So we must go ahead with this positive idea. What is the positive idea? Our Upanishads and our scriptures teach us that we are strong. All knowledge is hidden within us. Through work, through effort, we can produce them out. We can manifest that knowledge. Once we start manifesting that knowledge, that inner power, Swami Vivekananda's words, success will come, glory will come, goodness will come. Everything that is great will come when the sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. That is the glory of Sanatana Dharma. It never says this man is low, that man is high. Nothing. Everybody is potentially divine. We can become that. I think I've passed the time, crossed the schedule. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Maharaji, for such an enlightened and insightful lecture. It is really a learning experience, how to have proper understanding and how to have right vision. That is very, very important. So how to conduct in life is a very living instruction you gave is really very instructive. Now we have time for 3 or 4 or 5 questions. So in order to enable Maharaj Ji to provide some comprehensive answer, uh, let us be brief and precise in our question. So you are welcome to ask for any clarification, doubt, or any insight that you need from Maharaj Ji. So, but as per our house rule, please, one person will remain unmuted and others will remain muted. As soon as you finish speaking, please mute yourself. Thank you. You are free to ask question. Please take this opportunity. Thank you.
Pranam Maharaj Ji. Yeah, Aparna. My name is Aparna and my husband's name Anand. So Maharaj Ji, in this depressing atmosphere, how to keep your mind cheerful, because the last 2 years is very depressing atmosphere. If it is not in the house, but the surrounding is very depressing.
Yeah.
So how you keep yourself, because you can't read more books, or you listen lectures, of course. So that time period you can uplifted your mind, but later on when you are again going in the world or around, if you see, then again you get little depressed. So how you have to keep your mind, cheerful? Thank you.
The first thing is, this is not the first time it's happening. Fortunately, this is a very good time, because if we were alive during 1940s, 45, or even 1918, 19, etc., what would we do? If there is a siren, we had to rush to the underground. We live there in fear. And after some hours, we quietly come out and see if our house is broken, if bombing has been done to our house. Now, such things are not there. We are safe inside our houses. Now, about this depressing situation. This depressing situation has been there continuously. This period is a little highlighted period. What we must do is, if we have higher pursuits, as I said, external things will not bother us much. We have our higher pursuits, in the sense, suppose you take up some research activity or some activity which you like, this thing. Nowadays, everything is available on the net. So if you do that, you will have no time at all to think about other things. You will be so busy, so busy. For instance, there are numerous books to be translated. There are numerous things to be done, whatever. There are numerous things that can be done sitting in the house, sitting in a corner. If we can take up such activity, which is to our liking, not forced, it will be a great help. We may think nobody will see. If Swami Vivekananda's idea is, if you think a good thought, sitting in some cave in the forest, the good thought will pierce through the stones and affect somebody somewhere in some period of time. There was a lady, a Catholic lady, who was a pious woman. In those days, there was the fixed landline telephone. She made it a point to call her friends suddenly and say, please don't worry, God is there, God will take care of us. Some positive ideas she used to give. People used to listen and then they knew that. One day, suddenly, a young man got a telephone call. He picked up the phone and this lady is telling him, please don't worry, everything will be okay. The Lord is there. He will protect us, etc. Anyway, he thanked her and kept the telephone. 1 week later, there was a knock at this woman's door. And this young man, he said, "Why did you call me that day?" She said, "I don't know. I felt like calling you. I called you. At that moment, I had poison in my hand. I was about to commit suicide. At that time, your phone came and you said, "Go, there is the hope, there is this, etc." I thought, let me give one more chance to myself. Everything has crashed down, but everything will be better. So that way, she saved a life. So we can do that. There are numerous people outside who have no hope, etc. With our Vedantic background, we can say, no, these things pass. These problems will pass. In this world, there are always problems. If you hide one, another comes. So nothing to worry. There is inner light. Hold on to that, and that will give us tremendous peace and happiness.
Next question, please. You are welcome to ask question or clarification or any information that you need to ask from Sunil Nirmalanandaji Maharaj.
I think all are satisfied.
Your lecture has been so clear, so instructive, and it helps in day-to-day life. So it is very useful. Thank you once again, Maharajji. And then we have 2 minutes time, Maharajji. People can express their greetings to you, pranam to you. One by one, you can say your greetings and pranam to Maharajji.
I'm grateful to all of you for being with us. That's all. I'll just end with a small, tiny story.
Okay.
That's enough. Okay. There was a man who was extremely weak. Extremely weak. He followed a group called the Water Glass Group. He was so weak. Somebody said, "Why are you so weak? What is happening to you? You are so emaciated, gone." He said, "No. Our group guru has taught us that glasses of water have to be drunk." Good. And then nothing else. So therefore, I struggle somehow. When I'm extremely hungry, I manage to eat, but always glass of water, and I'm so. What was it that the guru taught? Then they went to the master. Me? Oh my God, see me. I'm so strong and muscular. When did I do that? See, I was teaching them about proper diet. I told them you must eat proteinaceous food, you must eat this, you must eat that, etc. And finally, I took a glass and said you could add in the end a cup of water. That would be good. They forgot the rest of it, only remembered this part, and they drink water, starve to death, and they blame me. This is happening in the name of dharma, in the name of religions, etc. Therefore, I chose this idea of proper understanding, proper vision, proper study. As I told you, the photograph of, say, Vivekananda as a baby, you can check everywhere it is circulated. They say it is Vivekananda. No, it's fake. So like that, we must be correct understanding, etc. should be there. That's the idea. Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Hari Om. Namaste.
Thank you, Maharajji. Udarandaji, are you there? You are there, so kindly, Udarandaji, kindly speak a few words. Now you are back. We are
Yes.
You can give.
Yes, I'm there.
Kindly give your vote of thanks.
Maharaj, we are really grateful to you for kindly accepting our request. I had hoped that people will ask questions, because I tell them again and again that they should ask more and more questions. Then more the class is interactive, more better it is for us. But anyway, I hope in future also we may get the opportunity from to hear from you. So we thank you profusely very much for accepting our request. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thanks all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Okay.
Shall I
Maharaj ji will
Yes,
now end this program, and we will end the recording. So have a nice day. Thank you very much, and thank you once again for participating and spending time. And Maharaj ji, Sunimrananda ji, thank you once again profusely for being with us and give us some gem of advice. Thank you, Maharaj ji. Everybody have a nice day. We see you again on next Sunday. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And close it. Thank you.
Yes, yes.